Greetings everyone, this is Rambling Collector here, and welcome back for another comic review. Now this one, for the subject of today's video, is going to be very interesting. Hence the title of Magic Abound. Because for today's video, we're going to be talking about Doctor Doom's Books of Doom, but also the first graphic novel from the series Magic the Gathering. So, with that being said, let's get started, shall we? Now first up, we have Magic the Gathering Volume 1 by Mackay and Guara, which, to give some context here, I've only recently been looking at the hobby of Magic the Gathering, in particular with the card game, so when I found out that there was actually a graphic novel series available for this, I jumped on it immediately. Now, honestly, I will say I was impressed, because this graphic novel provides a first glimpse into the world beyond the card game, showcasing the various guilds and species within the world of Magic the Gathering, which that was already a very fun time to see. Seeing how all of these mythical creatures and different spells and whatnot goes and expands from the simple card game. And honestly, I liked that. I liked seeing that there was an actual story behind the cards. But, more than that, is the story itself, which opens up with various guilds coming under attack at once, prompting a plot of mystery and investigation right from the beginning. And the main characters also do carry it very well, all of them being leaders of their various guilds, strong at both magic as well as leadership. Now, I can't really say too much as of yet, due to the fact that this is only the first graphic novel out of an entire series, but at some point I would happily want to look back and actually do a full review of the Magic the Gathering series, if I can find all the graphic novels available. I did some research. I think it is a fairly short series, so it probably won't take me too long if I put my nose to the grindstone and I'm able to find all of them. But knowing there is a story behind the card game made it very fun to me, at the very least. And honestly, if I can find more like this for Magic the Gathering, I am definitely going to be picking them up. Granted, I'm still very new to the game itself, but I'm always eager to learn more. But with that being said, let's move on to our second book for this video. Next up, we have Books of Doom by Ed Brubaker. Now, if you all have seen one of my previous comic videos, you'll know that I recently did a video on Doctor Doom's graphic novel, or at least one of them. But when I saw that there was another to check out with Books of Doom, I happily picked it up. There's a friend of mine who was a major fan of Doctor Doom, and I am more than happy to finally review this second one for them. Now, Books of Doom is interesting due to the fact that it dives deeply into the origin story of Doctor Doom, from his childhood days in Latveria to his rise as its ruler, covering events from his time as a child among gypsies to an American weapons designer, all the way to his mastery of the science of magic. Now this one is fairly short for a graphic novel, which to me was almost disappointing because I really wanted to see more. Just from reading the first graphic novel of Doctor Doom that I got my hands on, Books of Doom left me hungry for more for this character, because up until now, I did not know much about Doctor Doom as a character. I only knew him as he was a villain to the Fantastic Four. I didn't know much about his character, but learning more about him, seeing him be fleshed out before my eyes, really paints a very interesting three-dimensional character, compared to the one-dimensional that I had originally thought he was. Seeing how he has risen up his country of Latveria under his leadership, which has advanced technology, understandings of magic, as well as greater medical care, made it very interesting to me for the fact of his primary goal being to free his mother from hell, which, needless to say, that was wholeheartedly a surprise, seeing his interactions with people. But more than that, outside of his personal perspective, we get glimpses of his story from outsiders who knew him, which paints a much larger picture of how dangerous and yet inspiring he was, even as a child. Because in one particular scene, one of the folks in his party noticed, or I should say in his caravan, took note of what Doom had said when the others were talking badly about his mother over her grave. And needless to say, Doom took heavy offense to that, with how close he was to his mother. But also seeing Doom's father nearly freezing to death just to protect his child was amazing to behold. But going further beyond that, we actually see how Doom, throughout most of his life, was obsessed with trying to open a gateway to hell just to free his mother, which that takes a lot of dedication in and of itself. But more than that, we see where his hatred of Reed Richards really starts, with them both going to the same school and becoming intellectual rivals in that particular sense. But Doom, more than anything else, his narcissism always comes through, and either way, seeing his dedication to freeing his mother, but also then going on to free his country of Latveria, after studying the science of magic, being the prophesied chosen one to learn of magic, it was interesting. Frankly, if I can find another Doom series to look into, I am absolutely going to try and get my hands on to add it to another future review, because Doom is already a very fun character to me, and I am always a sucker for the villain characters getting their own spotlight series. But yes, Books of Doom by Ed Brubaker, absolutely recommend. But let's keep on moving, shall we? Next up, let's talk about the artwork here. The artwork is spectacular. It really pulls you in and gives a great imagery to the story that is being told, while also showcasing just the different worlds that we live in. With Magic the Gathering, it is a marvel of magic and science rolled into one, with great effects, spells, and mysteries all thrown in. And quite frankly, if for nothing else, while the story does have me a little bit confused, at least until I read more into it, the artwork really sells Magic the Gathering for me. It really paints a very interesting picture here. But now, with Books of Doom, that one was fairly interesting. It definitely has much rougher edges around it, indicating like a hand-drawn look to it. But more so than that, it also still shines through. There are moments where it goes extremely dark, and also brighter tones as well, depending on where you are within the series. But overall, both artworks for both series really did very well. They were very clean, very colorful, and really helps to pull the reader in even more so. But let's move on, shall we? Now, for random thoughts here, I will say this much. The twist at the end with Books of Doom, that being that we are not even speaking with Dr. Doom as he's telling his story, but rather one of his Doom bots, was definitely not a twist that I was ever expecting, but if anything, it feels very in character for Doom. Because he's too busy planning his next scheme, so he's obviously going to have a Doombot stand in for him to tell his life story. But more than that, this is one reason why I do like comics, because more often than not, depending on what you are looking into, there's always a new story to tell. But especially in the subject of magic, in and of itself. I'm not really entirely sure how many magic-focused characters there are throughout comic books, but I would definitely want to see more, because to me it is interesting with how these various magic users apply it throughout the world. Is there a science to it? Is it just based on faith? Or is it based on deals with other beings? Magic and its various applications is always fascinating to me. Some great examples, of course, being the Dresden Files, for one major example, or even John Constantine. Constantine being another comic book series that I would absolutely want to get my hands on, especially the Constantine Hellblazer series. If I can ever find that, you can bet that that's going to be a future review as well. But in all these different series, there are always various different explanations for either how they got their magic, or how magic can be applied in the world that they live in. Dresden Files, for instance, has a lot of focusing on will, projecting different types of magic, but even also ritualistic magic, the different practices involved. I don't know. To me, the concepts of magic are always fascinating to me, and seeing whether the spells have a cost, that is always another great thing to me. It makes a great way to show the story that not everything is given for free, that there is always a consequence. But in some cases, I always love those power fantasies where people are just flinging spells left and right without a care in the world. And if anything, it really showcases how some people can be absolute powerhouses with pure destructive magic, but then you have some that are much smarter, much craftier with their spells. I don't know. If anything, I would love to get more magic or spellcaster-focused comic series to cover at some point, just for the fun of it. With Doom especially, with his combination of magic and science put together, it really paints him as a fascinating user of, well, the ethereal. He combines the realism of science with the reality warping of magic, and ultimately, that in itself can be very dangerous, but also very fascinating for a story mechanism. Now, let's move on to the final scores, shall we? If it wasn't obvious from me singing their praises here, Books of Doom automatically gets a 10 out of 10 for me for great storytelling, being a self-contained work, even with just 6 issues to its name, as well as giving us the backstory of Doctor Doom. Now, magic, the reason why I give it an 8 out of 10 is mostly because it's an incomplete story. There is obviously going to be more to the series, of course, but there's still too little information for me to really give it a very accurate score. But even still, I'll give it high praises mainly for the introduction of the world of magic, but also the amazing artwork. But what do you all think? Do you think the scores are very well deserved? Do you think that there's other series that I should check out, as I've mentioned before? Or do you have any suggestions for me in the comment section down below? Please feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you have stuck around to the end of this video, thank you so much for listening to this crazy man's ramblings about the various collections in his library. And most of all, thank you for your time. If you have any further reading suggestions, feel free to let me know. I'm always up for something new to try out. And once again, thank you all for listening. This is Rambling Collector, signing off for now, and I will see you all in the next video. Have a great day, fellow readers.